Newcastle United should have won.
You serious?
Do you know what happened to the 73-year-old victim then? Or
I don't know what happened. I just know what the police said.
So you can't see at all?
Huh?
You can see though, right?
I'm legally blind. I can see, barely.
So from the game-changing captain, to the electric Gordon, to the big £39 million question, to revealing the exciting update from Keith Downey on Wissa, we'll also discuss the latest development regarding Newcastle's potential move for the Premier League's second top goal scorer. As per, join us as we'll break it all down and discuss the things we learned from Newcastle United to Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Let's go!
So the first thing we learned was the game-changing captain, as the first half belonged to Newcastle in every meaningful metric. They controlled 58% possession against Spurs' 42%, created 0.43 expected goals, attempted 8 total shots to Spurs' 4, and despite that dominance, it felt like Newcastle were not capitalizing on the openings their pressure was creating. That wastefulness always leaves the door open in Premier League games, and in the second half, the match was crying out for someone to take control. That someone was Bruno Guimarães. Being the 5th best midfielder in the Premier League for deep completions per 90, Bruno stepped onto the pitch and immediately made an impact that changed the tempo of the game. It was a superb second-half performance from the captain, full of attacking intent and leadership. His goal was a brilliant strike, clean and confident, and his through ball to Jacob Murphy was pure artistry, a perfectly weighted pass that deserved a better finish. It was the kind of vision only Bruno sees, and although it didn't end in a goal, it completely opened the game up. Statistically, he backed up every bit of that influence. Bruno finished with a 7.8 match rating, scoring 1 goal from 0.07 expected goals, creating 1 key pass, attempting 5 crosses, and completing 24 of 29 passes for 83% accuracy. In the opposition half, he went 9 from 19, while in his own half he was flawless at 10 out of 10, 100%. He also attempted 7 long balls, completing 4, took 41 touches, and was fouled twice. It was a complete midfield performance, the kind of showing that lifts the entire team. That goal now means Bruno Guimarães has 12 goal contributions in his last 20 home Premier League games, which only reinforces just how crucial he is. And the most telling stat of all, since he made his first start back in March 2022, Newcastle have not won a single one of their 9 Premier League fixtures played without him. So leading with Bruno on the pitch, Newcastle were most likely going to either win or draw this game. Unfortunately, the only way Spurs were ever getting back into it was through shambolic defending, which, as Eddie Howe admitted, is exactly what allowed the equaliser to happen.
Yeah, desperately disappointed. I think we'd got ourselves into the position that we wanted. Although it wasn't our finest performance, I thought we had control of the game. We had the majority of the chances. We just needed to defend that corner better, and I know it's easier said than done because in that moment the game hinges on it, but disappointed with not dealing with the first contact cleanly, and then the way the ball's gone in painfully slowly for us. It's heartbreaking at the end of a tough game.
Despite the defensive lapse, a huge shout-out has to go to Lewis Hall. He was easily the pick of the defenders on the night, constantly pressing high and winning the ball in Tottenham's third. His aggression, timing and decision-making was spot on for most of the match, and even though he understandably tired as the game wore on, he comes out of this contest with real credit after dealing with a difficult opponent throughout. Hall finished with a 7.1 rating, produced 0.11 expected goals, and 0.03 expected assists, and defensively he was superb, winning 4 tackles from 4, making 2 interceptions, 4 clearances, and blocking 1 shot. He added 6 recoveries, came out on top in 7 of 10 ground duels, and won 3 of 5 aerial duels. Importantly, he committed 0 fouls, was only dribbled past once, and on the ball he was tidy, attempting 3 crosses, completing 36 of 43 passes for 84% accuracy, including 13 of 22 passes in the opposition half, and 20 of 21 passes in the defensive half. He also hit 3 accurate long balls from 5 attempts, took 75 touches, and finished with the most tackles of any player and the 3rd most touches in the entire match. This was a standout performance that showed maturity well beyond his age. Then, we also learned about Anthony Gordon's knock in the first 11. Although Harvey Barnes deservedly started the match, With a 6.9 rating, Barnes looked confident early on and was a genuine threat in the first half. He had one very good chance that was saved and continued to drive at his defender with purpose. But the harsh truth is that his involvement dropped off significantly. Barnes played 66 minutes yet only managed 30 touches and completed 10 passes, one more than Aaron Ramsdale, making it clear he struggled to impose himself. He completed just one dribble, one accurate cross and lost possession 12 times. Without the ball, the issues continued as he lost 75% of his ground duels. It was a frustrating night for a player who has been in good form recently. However, Anthony Gordon came on and immediately lifted the left side. This was a much better performance from him, playing a role in both goals. His penalty was convincingly taken, and his positive, aggressive dribbling gave Newcastle renewed momentum. Ending with a 7.4 match rating, Gordon produced one goal from one shot, with an expected goals on target value of 0.77, completing one successful dribble, 2 accurate crosses from 4 attempts, and finishing with 86% pass accuracy and 100% accuracy on his long passes. He ended the game with the highest expected goals of any player, and hopefully this sparks an upturn in form. The same could not be said for the right-hand side. Not only did Anthony Elanga miss out on the deserved start, but Jacob Murphy also struggled badly. With a 6.9 rating, a number of promising attacking situations simply broke down due to his poor decision-making. His biggest miss came in the second half when Bruno played him clean through on goal and he failed to make the most of it. Murphy ended with only 3 accurate crosses from 10 attempts, a 30% accuracy rate, lost possession 12 times and completed just 17 passes. His passes in the opposition half were 5 from 14, a very low 36%. He completed only half of his dribbles and ultimately came off with just over 20 minutes left. When Elanga came on, he unfortunately never managed to influence the game in the same way Gordon did on the opposite wing. There were a few moments of neat link-up with Tyno, but they amounted to little. Elanga completed 1 successful dribble, lost possession 4 times, and recorded 9 accurate passes from 12. It was a quiet cameo from a player who has been energetic in recent weeks. Maybe you were right, or maybe he just needs to start and get more time to shine like he did in the last game. But moving on to the £39 million question. Before getting to the big Ramsey question, a few midfield issues needed addressing. Firstly, the Tonali concern. The Italian never truly settled into the rhythm of the match before being taken off at halftime with a knock. His set-piece delivery was below his usual standard, and although his passing accuracy remained high, it was a subdued performance overall. With a 7.1 rating, Tonali completed 1 key pass, 1 accurate cross from 4 attempts, 24 of 25 passes for 96% accuracy, 10 of 14 passes in the opposition half, 11 of 11 in his own half, 2 accurate long balls from 2 attempts and finished with 31 touches. Newcastle will be hoping the injury is not serious and that he is available for the weekend. In contrast, Miley offered a more mixed but promising performance. The midfield balance in the first half didn't feel right, yet Miley still managed to threaten the final third, getting on the end of 2 good chances and constantly finding pockets of space. One thing that is becoming clear is that Miley looks far more comfortable alongside Bruno than Tonali. Even so, he remained tidy on the ball, winning aerial duels and showing maturity in possession. He ended the game with a 6.8 rating, generated 0.25 expected goals, made 1 key pass, delivered 5 crosses with 1 accurate, and completed 28 of 37 passes for 76% accuracy. In the opposition half, he went 14 from 25, in the defensive half 10 from 12, and he took 56 touches. His 3 total shots yielded 0.53 expected goals on target, with 2 on target and 1 blocked. Defensively, he contributed 1 tackle 1 interception, 1 blocked shot, 1 recovery, won 3 of 7 ground duels, and dominated in the air, taking 7 of 8 aerial duels. The talent is unmistakable. He just needs the right structure around him. For the 3rd straight match, Joelinton started at the heart of the midfield, partnering Miley and Tonali. But unfortunately, this was a night to forget for the Brazilian. He completed the full 90 minutes but failed to repay the faith the manager placed in him, producing a performance that lacked control and composure in key moments. He finished with a 6.7 rating, made 1 key pass, completed 29 of 35 passes for 83% accuracy, including a strong 19 of 21 in the opposition half, and even struck the woodwork. He took 49 touches, won 1 tackle, made 2 clearances, and recovered the ball 10 times. But the bigger concerns came in duels and decision-making, winning just 3 of 11 ground duels, 0 of 1 aerial duels, committing 1 foul, and being dribbled past 3 times. On top of that, he lost possession 11 times, often in promising attacking moments when Newcastle were building momentum. That lack of security in midfield ultimately fed into the team's second-half issues. And this leads directly to the big question every Newcastle fan was asking: why did Eddie Howe leave Joelinton on for the full 90 minutes when the midfield needed fresh energy and better ball retention? With Jacob Ramsey, a £39 million signing, sitting on the bench, and Joe Willock also available, it is completely fair to ask why neither player was introduced. Ramsey in particular thrives in space, carries the ball superbly, and would have enjoyed the gaps Tottenham were leaving in transition. Even if he is still building fitness, there is little justification for him not getting at least a few minutes, especially in a tactical matchup that suited his strengths perfectly. Right now, it does feel like Newcastle are severely underutilizing Ramsey, and when you spend close to £40 million on a player of his profile, he should never be going through games without seeing the pitch, especially when the midfield is clearly struggling. Fans have every right to expect more minutes, more involvement, and a clearer plan for a player who was brought in to transform the team's attacking dynamics. If Howe continues to overlook him in situations like this, the questions will only grow louder. Then moving on to the forward boost, Nick Voltemade delivered a solid performance without ever fully exploding into life. What stood out most was that he created the most chances in the entire game, despite having the fewest touches of any player who completed 90 minutes. That speaks volumes about his efficiency and intelligence. His assist for the opening goal was excellent, showing vision and composure, and he was extremely unlucky not to score himself after seeing a header cleared off the line. The German is clearly growing into life in the Premier League, and every match reveals another layer of his potential. However, the way he tired late in the game, and the moments where the ball got caught under his feet, showed that he desperately needs support. And that is exactly where Yoane Wissa comes in. Not only can Wissa offer rotation to rest Voltemade, he can also play alongside him, because Voltemade has repeatedly shown he can be a provider as well as a scorer, just as he proved again in this match. This week delivered positive news on that front. Yoane Wissa has been omitted from DR Congo's Africa Cup of Nations squad, handing Newcastle an unexpected and significant boost as the forward closes in on full fitness. The Athletic confirmed that the 29-year-old had been left out despite early expectations he would be selected once available again. Keith Downey later reinforced the update, stating that Wissa was not selected as predicted, and that the message from the players' camp was clear. It is full focus on Newcastle as priority, acknowledging the time and effort the club has invested in getting him ready. The most exciting update came from Craig Hope, who reported that Wissa is pushing to make the bench this weekend. That would be a timely and much-needed lift. The Spurs game was a perfect example of a match crying out for something different in attack, a spark to change the rhythm, and Wissa brings exactly that profile. But Newcastle's lack of striker options on the bench remains a concern. With only Voltemade available and Wissa still working back to match readiness, another injury to either player would leave the squad right back at square one, forcing Howe into uncomfortable tactical compromises. It is no surprise then that Newcastle are actively exploring reinforcements. According to Court Offside, the club are preparing a January move for Igor Thiago after completing an extensive scouting mission. The Brentford forward has been one of the Premier League's standout performers this season, scoring 11 goals in 13 league matches, a total only Erling Haaland has bettered. His output has been remarkable, stepping up brilliantly to replace Bryan Mbeumo and powering Brentford's attack almost single-handedly. The comparison between Thiago and Voltemade tells its own story. Thiago has played 1,101 minutes with 11 goals, 0 assists, and 8.5 expected goals, while Voltemade has played 965 minutes with 5 goals, 1 assist, and 4.5 expected goals. Voltemade has undoubtedly enjoyed a fantastic start to life at Newcastle, but Thiago has been operating on another level entirely, both statistically and stylistically. Keith Andrews has spoken glowingly about Thiago's influence, describing him as a dream to work with, praising his hunger, his professionalism, and his relentless drive to improve. He highlighted that Thiago's season doesn't take a genius to recognize, with both his numbers and performances reflecting how quickly he has adapted and how well he fits into Brentford's structure. It is exactly the type of profile Newcastle are now targeting, another backup forward who can score, link play, and relieve the pressure on Voltemade, giving how the flexibility and depth this squad desperately needs with the numerous cup games coming up. But tell me, how do you feel about Thiago potentially coming to Newcastle? Then finally, if you haven't seen it yet,
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I recently dropped a rare piece on Nick Voltemade, including the dark secrets they don't want you to know. If you want to watch it, click the video link on screen now.